Megan Hicks of I Run Far. I'm with Anthony Costales. It's a couple days after the 2021 Canyons 100K, where you won the men's race. Hey, Anthony, congratulations.
Thanks, Megan. How's it going?
Good. I'm in Silverton, Colorado. Where am I talking to you from right now?
I'm in Salt Lake City, back in Salt Lake City already.
Today's Monday. The race was on Saturday. You traveled home yesterday.
Yeah, we did our travel home yesterday. Went pretty smooth, but it's always a longer day than it should. And then coming back on the out, it's only an hour difference, but it always makes a difference, it seems like.
And you were back at school teaching today on 100K legs. How did that go?
It was good. I did like I teach PE, so my kids today were doing like this balancing workout, and I got in it with them. And the first one was kind of rough, and then by third period, I was like, oh, I'm feeling good. And then fourth period, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore today. So it was pretty good. It was fun though. It worked out a lot. It's like a yoga almost kind of thing.
So you had like a warm up, or you plateaued where you were feeling good, and then there was
kind of like the race.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk to you about how the race went down last weekend, but it's been about a year and a half since we've seen you race, and a lot of stuff has happened.
Yeah.
That whole like COVID-19 pandemic. So I want to
Yeah.
rewind. Just as we were getting ready for this interview, your wife and a baby were in the room. You have a kid.
Yeah. Her name is Piper, and she was born in November. So she's like 5 months, right at 5 months. And yeah, so that's new to us, or becoming still new to us. And not a pandemic baby though. It was before. We always kind of joke about
Just
it.
to clarify.
Not a COVID baby, but yeah.
So how is life as a dad in terms of having a baby around the house and juggling a career and running?
It's going good. It's really, I had like a really weird injury that I kind of wasn't. I around August, September, I just had an nagging injury that wasn't going away, and I was like, I'll take 3 days off, and then this, and then it just kind of kept prolonging, and there was nothing on the schedule, so there wasn't too much seriousness to it. And then I finally just took almost like a month and a half off completely, and really got healthy. And when I started coming back, I was like barely running like 8-mile runs, like when the baby was born. So kind of like when she was born, I was like, well, I need to keep this rolling, or else like you're probably not going to get into it very well. And she's been my good little luck charm, because I've been healthy, and really training's been really well since we've had her. So I've juggled a lot of things, or I kind of like juggling a lot of things. For some reason, more spare time to me, just I get more lazy, is what I've noticed through the years.
I like that Piper is your good luck charm for healthy living.
Yeah, right now.
Also during the pandemic, you changed sponsors. You became a Solomon athlete this year.
Yeah. So with Rabbit for a couple of years, and were great sponsor, and we parted ways at the end of the year, and ended up with Solomon. Which is great, because I've been running. It's pretty much that's the only shoot I've run in trails, except my very first trail marathon back in like 2017, I think, or so. And I was in like Skechers road flats in Moab on that, which was okay. I actually got through it, but yeah.
So. Amazing. Well, like the slick rock of Moab can be a little bit pavement-like in places. So
yeah, but I also kicked the cactus, and that didn't work out too well.
Not so much protection.
Yeah.
Okay, so your name has been on the entrance list for Canyons 100K for kind of a while. I think this was your first 100K, the internet said over the weekend.
This was the first 100K debut.
And so you did a couple races in Moab over the springtime. You were down for the Red Hot 55K and the Behind the Rocks 50 miler. Have you been intentionally, sort of trying to step up to canyons?
So we're planning to do, what was it? Way Too Cool 50K. Planning to do that, got canceled. And within like the week of it getting canceled, I also got an email from the race director because they really weren't letting anybody in elites or anyone because of permit issues. They overbooked the race and then the permitting got lowered. So they weren't even letting anyone in. And then something happened and they emailed me asking to come out to Moab, and I had like 2 weeks to decide and did it. I was like, I'll just do it. You got to take advantage of races right now if you want to race. Right. So I did that. I ran that pretty aggressive because I was hoping to get some my international points maybe bumped up a little bit. And then the red hot, or not red hot, behind the rocks, that was strictly for training. If there had been like a few people that really were good in there, I don't like saying I'm just going to do a race for training, but it was that day. It was more for learning little things that I need to fix for the next race, like whether it be nutrition or putting a battery in a headlamp or fresh batteries in a headlamp like I didn't have that morning, and little stuff like that, which really kind of worked out well.
Get all the glitches out before the real goal.
Yeah, and actually one of the biggest ones was I got lost I said, dang it, no, I keep saying I didn't get lost. I went off course that day. And when I went off course, and Jimmy Elam was telling me, he's like, you need to put the GPX on your watch, because I just have never done that. And like, since I did it that time, it kind of forced me I needed to do it for canyons, I thought. And it was a really cool feature that was fun to play with during the race yesterday, 2 days ago.
Nice. So Canyons 100K is probably the most competitive race that we've seen in America since before the pandemic started. Like, I'm thinking the North Face 2019. Did you?
Oh, sorry, I was thinking I was in it. Sorry, Speedgoat was pretty competitive, I thought.
Speedgoat was decently competitive, yeah, but there were
good names in there.
Couldn't really get to it who wanted to, right?
Yeah, no, I just, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. I wanted to preface my next question with like the idea that it was known that it was going to be a competitive race for a couple of months. Like, the entrance list for Canyons was looking good. If the race was going to take place, it was going to be quite competitive. Were you going into it for the competition, for a golden ticket, for stepping up to the 100K distance? What were your goals?
Well, I mean, everything's going to change. I mean, the goal was Lake Sonoma. As soon as Lake Sonoma got canceled, I emailed them, seeing if I could get in, and was able to, luckily. I guess like it was more like I wanted to get a race in where I could get more eyes on me, maybe a little bit, just more respect, maybe, I guess, just if I do well. With the big goal, and ticket races do that. It seems like no matter how it works out, like people are gonna hear about it. So that was like the main thing. Taking the ticket for the longest time, I wasn't really sure. The main reason right now taking it is I was planning to do like the Golden Trail series, but right now it's still not clear if we could go overseas to race this year. And you don't want to give something up and then want it back later. So taking it. Well,
those are two really different things, like competing in the Golden Trail series, like relatively short marathon distance mountain races, and a real runnable 100-miler.
Yeah. Honestly, I just really want to go to Chamonix and go see that, and go to like that experience. I mean, it just looks like a completely different environment, which might be a bummer because you might get over there and it's the one year that there's so many restrictions, you don't get that same race vibe as well. But I did that series. When I see those races, they just look so fun with the people that are spectating around. That has made me want to go over there. So they're completely different races, but I guess that's the reason why I got into the sport. Was Tim Tolson was showing his Instagram off all the time about all these awesome places he was going, and it looked like fun races. And that's what I've always been like a trail runner, being from Chico and stuff. So kind of how we trained with Tim went there as well.
Yeah.
But once I kind of like saw those races across seas, which I never knew about, I thought that looks like really fun to go do that.
So my next question was going to be, what is the next, if you took the golden ticket, what is the next couple of months of training going to look like? But I mean, now the question gets even more
Yeah.
interesting if you're trying to like, yeah, juggle two potential.
Well, I'm gonna let Golden Trail Series that I'm not gonna be able to go, and I'm gonna take the
Okay.
golden ticket and go there. The main reason why I'm taking it, or the other big reason taking it, is the field's just so stacked this year that I feel like if like you get a golden ticket and you don't go compete with that field, it almost feels like a cop out. So I feel like it's I love competition, so I mean, you couldn't ask for a better year at Western, it seems like right now. And I was just listening to podcasts, you don't know how many of those people are actually even going to make it to the start line, because that's kind of how any kind of big race works. But yeah, the competition is the main draw right now.
Um, I want to talk for just a couple minutes about how the race played out on Saturday, and then maybe finish this interview with talking about prepping for Western
Okay.
Statesman.
Yeah.
So I followed the race on Ultra Runner Podcast's Twitter feed, and it seemed like you were a pace setter or sharing the lead for almost all of the race. Is that a okay way to put it?
I was in the front pack of like anywhere 4 to 6 of us. Yeah, the whole first 30, 35-ish miles. I mean, the first 20, like we might as well have been along one with our friends for a little bit. We were talking a little too much. We were talking a lot, and which was great. It was fun. It made it a little bit more relaxed. And
was it one of those like, I haven't seen humans for so long, like let's talk?
A little bit. I mean, yeah, someone was even saying it's like it's great, like doing a race, like we get to talk to someone and all this. And it was like I was really quiet in the beginning of the race because I actually wasn't feeling that great just from the start, like the first like 3 miles. And then like everything kind of shook out. I was having a little bit of stomach issues, not from nutrition or anything like that, just for morning stomach issues.
Yeah.
And that took it, and you're kind of concerned about that being 3 miles into 100K. Yeah, we were all kind of switching off leads and talking, and yeah, it was a pack of like 4 to 6 of us.
So it looked like, yeah, maybe for the first third to a half of the race, you were sharing the lead with a bunch of different guys. And then in the middle miles of the race, it was like you were just ahead of the leaders at a couple aid stations.
So yeah, Forest Hill was probably when people saw that, and it wasn't for very long. So it was like four of us were together. It was Cole, this kid Preston that a lot of people are talking about right now, which has a really cool story, and Max and I. Noah kind of dropped off the back for a little bit. He dropped off at the aid station before, and kind of caught back up later in the race. But it was us four, and then basically the last climb into Forest Hill, we were really together, but there's a lot of walking going on, and I was just kind of getting antsy and kind of took off a little bit the last hill. I mean, not by a lot, but just a little bit. So when I popped out over Forest Hill, I was maybe 30 seconds ahead of just Max and Cole at that point. I don't know where Preston, I'm not sure where Preston was at.
When did you shake the rest of the guys? Like, when did that officially happen then?
So Cole and I were running together, or Cole and I left the aid station pretty close together, and kind of were running down the hill, and he was like just in his back, and then I was kind of just like a couple strides ahead of him, and it was a really long asphalt downhill, and what happened there? Right, we were just going down. It's like it felt like I barely had a lead, and then we got to the trail, and I kind of turned around, and I was like, oh, I'm glad that's over, because it was just kind of brutal. And it wasn't Cole, it was Max then. So Cole was kind of off the back, and it was Max. And then so me and Max were together for like maybe the first half of the next climb, and I think he was just trying to be a little bit more conservative than I was, and that's where I kind of left him a little bit on that climb. I'm not sure by how much, because I know within like in the next 5 miles after that, which I turned around and didn't see him a couple times, but I know within the first 5 miles after that is when he got lost between there and the next aid station.
Okay.
Right now.
The profile of this year's race course is amazing. Like the end, so brutal.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was. Man, why am I forgetting the name of the aid station? I it was where my cabin was. It's so bad. But
It was what? Sorry.
I'm sorry, it's Forest Hill, and then the next aid station I'm trying to think.
Maybe was it Devil's Thumb?
No,
No. Okay.
it's like the small little community, like right after
Oh, Michigan Bluff.
Michigan Bluff. Yeah, I said there. Sorry. After Michigan Bluff, you go downhill pretty hard for like 2 miles, and then it's like a 2 or 3 mile really steep climb. I think that was the hardest part of the race.
Okay.
And then after that, you kind of do that little loop, and to me it kind of flattened out a lot over there, or it was just kind of more flowy from there on in. I didn't think the last climb was too bad. The profile was kind of all over the place because at first they told us it was going to be 7 mile loop, 8 mile to the finish. Then we got there and it was 5 mile loop and 11 miles to the finish. So something was a little bit different. So yeah, it was a hard finish, but I would have said that other climb was a little bit harder.
Interesting. You cleared everybody, and I think you ran the last 10 miles, something like 30 or 40 seconds a mile faster than everybody else. So I guess Max notwithstanding, because
yeah,
he spent some time off course, but
yeah, he got it was around yeah. I'm not sure where he got off at.
Sorry,
I wasn't sure where he got off at. Yeah, sorry.
I'm not sure either. You crossed the finish line and there were no guys around for 10 minutes or so, eh?
Yeah, yeah, there wasn't. So in the loops that I was talking about, so you do that 5 mile loop. Before you start that loop, you actually, those Deadwood was the aid station. You actually go out like a quarter mile, half mile, and then you turn around and come back. So you actually get to see people that are maybe around you. So at mile 25 aid station, Noah wasn't feeling good, and I actually kind of waited around for him a little bit because him and I are Salt Lake City, we're friends, and I think we just had a lot of strengths and weaknesses that we could help each other out with during it. And anyway, he even said, I'm not feeling that good. And I kind of waited and I was like, okay, I got to go. And so I kind of just thought he was having a bad day, which I was really bummed about. And then we do this out and back section, and I'm coming back and I'm expecting to see Cole or Max, and nowhere, it's Noah, because Max got lost, and Noah caught up by a lot.
Wow.
And I got really excited at that point because, it's like my pretty good friend. And then, so I was like a little adrenaline shot. And then my next thought was, whoa, Noah's coming back pretty hard. I got to step into the gear because everyone keeps talking about how this finish is brutal. And Noah's a way better climber than me. He put in like 1,000,000 feet last year, whatever, like 1,000,000 vertical feet. Like he's done those crazy challenges, month-long challenges for vertical feet. So then I started hammering as much as I could the flowy section, and was seeing how long I could hold him off for. And it sounds like he ended up struggling a little bit the last part anyway.
That's amazing. The first thought is like, yeah, that's my buddy. And then the second thought is, oh no, that's my buddy.
Well, actually, I mean, so we talked about like if things were, the perfect day and like we're running together, like we'll break tape together, like because we were running together like a week before this race. And
okay.
My thought was, I was like, if he like catches me on like a climb and he better not wait up for me. He needs to just go. But if like he starts to slowly catch up to me, or like we get into a spot where it's like the last mile, like we could maybe like kind of have that really cool friendship finish. So I wanted to at least maybe get to that point where that could potentially happen, not tell him, no, you need to just go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So you cross the line, you win the race by quite a lot. You get handed the gigantic golden ticket board. Yeah. And now you have 2 months to recover, build for your first 100 mile, and then race. What's going through your head right now?
I guess just try to keep it going as much as I can. Luckily the body has felt pretty well from this. I'm not sure if it's because the trails are so nice in California, and that's one of the reasons, or, we did have like almost 4,000 less feet of descent, which is, I think, where it really gets you a lot. But yeah, just get recovered as fast as I can and keep things rolling as much as possible. I've thought about it that it is kind of a bad timeline for that ticket because you know, you got to taper going into this race, you got to recover after the race, and then now you have 7 weeks and you got to taper into the next race. So it's like a 5-week period that you have to really hammer, I think. But yeah, just gonna have to do the best I can.
Yeah, there are blessings and curses of racing, right? That
Yeah.
there's the taper and the recovery, but then there's the fitness earned from the actual race itself.
Yeah, yeah, the fitness, a little bit of a extra like experience like currently and all that stuff, I think is definitely good. So
Yeah, so this was a 9-hour race this past weekend.
yeah.
You're now jumping up to, I don't know, something in the 14 to 15-hour race in just 7 weeks or 9 weeks time,
Yeah.
is that right?
Yeah, that I guess that's right. I mean, I don't know how else you really do it. I mean, it's kind of, there's not too much in between 100K and a 100 miler that we race a lot that I could think of like time wise.
Did you, because you talked about earlier in this interview about using the 50 miler in Moab
Yeah,
to work out the hitches for 100K.
yeah.
Did you learn things this past weekend that you're like, oh, that's really good for this race to know, for Western States to know?
You know, one of the biggest ones was that I had my watch, the watch I used, having that elevation profile. Instead of like, I didn't count miles, I counted how much more elevation gain I had left.
Oh, wow.
And that's how I went off of it. I didn't do too much studying, like not on the course, because every time I've tried to study a course from a GPX file, there's something so brutal in the middle of it that's worse that it kind of throws off everything you studied for, I feel like. So and I couldn't go preview it just in time. So yeah, when I saw that was available on the watch, I was like, oh, that's a really cool setting. I could just kind of, and it counts down your feet. So it like says like, for instance, and it was totally off. It said it was 17,000 feet for the day, even though it was 14 or 15, but it counts down on that GPX file, like how much is left throughout the race. And it shows you what's coming up next. And I was like, that was I think the biggest benefit of learning something that day.
Oh, that's a really fun way to break down a race, is looking at like the climbs or what amount of uphill is left.
Yeah, that's kind of North Face. That's kind of the way I looked at it too. I was like, it's like, I was like, it's 10 climbs is the way I was looking at it. I'm like, how can I get through 10 climbs was the thought that day.
What a fun experience to like go to your first 100K and earn entrance to your first 100 mile.
Yeah, Max and I were talking about that. Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. It's different.
And it's going to get a lot more different in just a couple of months' time.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Hopefully everything, knock on wood, still keeps going through and nothing happens.
Apparently you just need Piper by your side.
Yeah, she's done me pretty well so far.
Oh, well, congratulations on your win at Canyons 100K, and man, we look forward to chasing you around the Western States course in just 2 months.
Thank you.